going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cyber Realm. So, surprisingly enough, hey, 2 videos in a day, right? Yeah. This is going to be an SAO related video. It's not actually playing Sword Art Online Memory Defrag, since you can clearly tell I'm on my computer rather than on my phone. But I think for those of you who's interested in Sword Art Online Memory Defrag, you might want to stick around for this video. I'm about to show you exactly, roughly on average, how much memory diamonds you need to be able to summon your favorite weapon to R5 or scout your favorite character to max limit break. So, but before we begin, there's something I want to get out to you guys. Huge pat on the back for you guys. Thank you so much for all of the support you've shown. I know I've said this before and it sounds a bit cliche now, but I need to stress this because I was looking at my channel and I just found out that the 4000 MD whaling video has now over 700 views. And yeah, you might be like, okay, it's only 700 compared to the big channels, it's nothing. Yeah, but those are the big channels. I don't care what the big channels get. This is almost like a self-improvement. I'm looking at all my previous videos recently made, and I'm sitting there looking at almost 20 views. At best, like 170 views for my Darius video for League of Legends, but that's nowhere near 700 views. And before, I would throw like a, hey, can you guys give me 10 likes for a video? And it's just thrown to air. There's really no one else. Considering only how a portion of the people who watch the video actually likes it, we surpassed the goal for the first time. I didn't think that was in reality until now. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So here I am delivering something almost like a token of my appreciation. So there was someone who's asked me exactly roughly how much MD you need to spend to be able to get your, your full team of 6 stars, your full team of whatever stars in the future perhaps, and how much you need to get that R5 set. So to be able to calculate that, I tried to use mathematical sequences to do it. However, that didn't come out so well. And in fact, I was corrected multiple times by someone else who was a better mathematician than I was. And I'm not saying I'm a mathematician of any kind at all, but, you get the point. But, however, I am a computer science student. I am a computer scientist student. So that means I program. Therefore, here I am. I've coded a program which will calculate the approximate average of how much MD you need to be able to get that specific pull that you want a certain amount of times, depending on whether or not it's a step-up summoning or not. So, for those of you who just want to see the result, you can skip to near the end of the video and find out the results there. But for those of you, for those of you who wants to stick around and check out the process, and if you're interested in programming, here it is. So I'm going to explain real quick. This is a program that is more precise than simply saying it's roughly 2000 MD to get an R5. It's far more precise than that. And actually, I had to do a duplicate test of 100 times to scout that certain amount of weapons. 100 different times to be able to calculate this average. Because apparently when I was doing the 10 times average, it was very unstable. The results were fluctuating very badly, and it's hard to get an average. But with 100 tests, it was better. So let me explain. First of all, I have obviously the function right here. I'm writing this in Python, by the way, if anyone's wondering. I know it probably would have been more pleasing to the eye if I was doing it in, probably Visual Basics or C# or something around that, along those lines. But I just thought Python was the closest in hand, and I just went with Python. So obviously here's the function. What I'm going to do is I asked the user particularly for 4 inputs. So if you want to find out how much it takes to pull this weapon, then what I'm going to need from you is 4 things. Number 1 is what type are you pulling? Because obviously there's a difference. So are you pulling for weapons or are you pulling for the characters, right? So there's different prices and there's differences in the chances, probability. So next is your chance, is the base chance of obtaining that weapon. So obviously it differs from banner to banner, and it's hard for me to actually, for the software to be able to pick up that information. So you kind of have to input that for yourself. So whether or not it's a 2-character banner or it's a 4-character banner, the probability changes along with that. So you need to be able to input that. And the next part is step, whether or not this is a step-up summoning. Because as you know, step-up summonings have lower prices at certain steps and guaranteed summonings at certain steps. So I decided to throw that out there as well. And the next part is amount. Basically, your how much duplicates you want to have for this particular character or for this particular weapon, right? So keeping those in mind, those were the 4 inputs that I asked. Other than that, I took in the variables of the test, which is the number of times that I need to test myself, the total cost, which is basically all of the costs added together from all of the 100 tests, basically. I put all the costs of MD. This is an MD, by the way. This is not how much you need to summon. The cost list is obviously the list that contains all of the cost prices for per test, which was ultimately added up into the total cost. Don't worry about that much. And the total test amount is something simple. It's a variable for me to just easily change the number of tests I want to do to, easily manipulate, because there's a couple of things that you need to calculate, which makes it easier for me if I keep it as a variable instead of going down to every single one of the numbers and changing it one at a time. Now, that out of the way, I'm going to explain what the code here does now. First step is to determine whether or not it's a weapon summoning or a character summoning. So I have whether or not type is W or type is C. So W for weapon, C for character. The next thing I tested was basically, I need to start by asking myself, how many tests do I want to do to make this as accurate as possible for the result. So at first it was 10. I set this as an actual integer of 10. But later on I realized that 10, it doesn't really work out, so I changed it to a variable, and now I'm fiddling around with it. So obviously the bigger the number, the better. The next part is exactly how much, it's exactly what step you're on, or rather, we assume that you're always starting out at 0 steps, because you kind of want to do this. You kind of want to do this calculation before you start summoning anymore, right? So we assume that you're on step 0, but there are often times, well, there's not many often times now, but there are times when it's not step up summoning. So it's less rewarding, but step up summonings, as we all know, is a lot better. So most of the cases you'll be saying Y for yes for step up, and either that or N for no. It's not a step up summon. So here what I gave them was a step number, because obviously you need to, after every summoning, it goes to the next step, right? So I'm not going to keep it consistent in saying, oh, you took step 0, then you're going to be on step 0 all the time. By that I mean step 1. In computer science, you typically start off with 0 as this initial number, not 1, but you could change it. So the next part is basically how many times you want to be able to summon this character / weapon. In this case, I set it as the goal. So, if you want a R5, right, you need to summon the R4 5 times for duplicates. So you're going to have to summon it 5 times. The reason I set it as how many times you want to summon this instead of saying, oh, I just want an R5 straight up, is maybe because some characters maybe you traded in for R4 already and you only need to summon it 4 more times instead of 5 times, right? So you can interchange this number if you want. It's that kind of thing. Anyways, that out of the way, with the goal, what I would do is I constantly ask this computer to generate a number between 1 and 100. So standing for the 100% probability, right? So once it generates that number, it stores it in a list of outcomes. So obviously, if you do, I'm only doing this for multi-summoning, by the way, guys. That's something important. It's only multi-summonings here because it's the most worth it, in my opinion. So what ends up happening is it generates a list of 11 different numbers ranging from 1 to 100. And then what it does is it compares those numbers to that chance that you gave me. So if it's, say, 2% chance, then any number generated between 1 to 2 will be considered, hey, you got this weapon. Now you might say, okay, well, maybe the number is not 1 to 2. Maybe it's like 5 to 6, right? But it doesn't really matter. When it comes to probability, whether or not you generate a number between 1 to 2 or 5 to 6 is the same probability. So in the end, it's the same thing. Don't argue with me on that. I know this. With that, you kind of get the basic structure of the entire program. So this way, now you can start gathering data. However, a couple of things that comes in mind, which is the part where you're coming to step-ups. So when it does step-ups, right, sometimes some steps are similar with each other, some steps are not. And it's particularly when it comes to different chances. Say, for instance, like higher chance when you get to, for character summoning, when you get to step 6, it always stays at higher chances. And for weapons, once it gets to step 3, it'll actually revert back to step 1 again. So taking those things into account, I basically gave them if statements, whether or not which steps you're in, and adjust them accordingly. But with all of that out of the way, the character one is actually very, very similar. All I did was actually added an extra couple steps, and aside from that, it's pretty much the same. Whew, that was a lot of talking. But now it's time to show the results. Exactly how much do you need to get that R5 weapon? Well, let me demonstrate. So here's the program right here. I know it's very, very simple, very plain. This is just something, it's on a console. It's not going to be anything fancy. But first of all, it's asking you, what kind of pull are you doing, right? You can do W for weapon or C for character. So I'm going to go W for weapon. You know, I want that R5, let's say. And let's say right now the banners for 2 weapons is 2%. For a particular weapon, for a specific weapon, right? So is there a summoning for step-up summoning for this weapon? Of course there is. There's a 3-step summoning, right? So how many duplicates do you need? Well, in order to get an R5, I need to get this weapon 5 times. Therefore, I'm going to plug in a number 5. And it gives me a value back. This is 2,523 MDs. It's telling you that on average, you need a 2,523 MD. Obviously, 23 extra MDs isn't going to get you anything. Typically, like, they're only averaging it between 100 different tests, right? You can't expect them to be perfect, so it's going to be ultimately divided by 100. So if the results come up as different, then you're going to have to accept it. And we're going to do it again just for verification that I am not just trolling with you here. Going to do the same thing. As you can see, there's a bit of a fluctuation. This is now down to 2,383. However, you'll realize that the fluctuation is actually not that bad. So 2,247, it's going down even further, which is not something that I personally wanted to see. It's getting lower and lower. Okay, we're going to have to keep testing this because I'm pretty sure I did not set it up to be... Yeah, there we go. It's back to 2,469.5. I did not set it up to be it's constantly decreasing in percentage every single time. It just so happens that you're lucky enough to get for the computer to be able to roll through 100 tests, and on average, it's much, much less gems than what you expect. Right, so now we're going to try characters. So we want to say, let's say I want to get, I don't know, the new Yuki that's about to come out, right? The new Dark unit. And as you know, Yuki is unique as in, like, she doesn't have a duplicate character that you can obtain to be able to get that, the Dark limit-breaking crystal, I think it's going to be. In any case, basically you need to summon Yuki duplicates, right? In order to, Limit Breaker, unlike Asuna and Kirito, where they both use Void limit breaking crystals. So in this case, let's say it was characters, and obviously, in order to summon, I think the chances are 3% for 2 characters. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Is there a step summoning for this unit? Yes, there probably will be. And how many duplicates? Well, let's see. I have Void Crystals already, which is allowed 1 time to limit break. So that means if I get Yuki 1 time, it's almost guaranteed to start off as 85. Then I need 1 more time to get to 90, then again to 95, then again to 100. So technically I need 4 Yukis. Let's give it a 4 duplicate. So on average, I require 1,068.25 memory diamonds. So we're going to try this again. We're going to go character, 3%. We're going to go 4 of them, just to clarify. And, oh, oops, I actually screwed that up there. That was not to be. And my program just crashed. Yay. So we're just going to start it up all over again. Whoopsie. Anyways, character, 3%. Yes. And I need 4 duplicates. There we go, 1,056.25. Obviously, if I run more tests, it'll become more and more accurate, and the fluctuation won't be as bad. So, for instance, if I go ahead and head over to test amount, right? If I bump that up to 500, I know that's a lot of tests. This time, you'll actually see the results as being a lot more precise and a lot more closer together, so you don't see too much variation. So let's try this again. We're going to go character, we're going to go 3%, we're going to go yes, and 4 duplicates. So 1,060 was the answer this time, and you'll see that the fluctuation gets less and less as we progress. 1,059.35. You can tell it's only off by a couple point percentages, right? We're going to try it even one more time to be even more precise about this. 1,054. Okay, a little couple of MD differences now, but you can see the bigger the number, the more accurate it'll become. So there you go. So on average, it looks like you're going to be needing roughly 1,050, 1,060 to be able to fully limit break a character, assuming you have Void Crystals. Now, if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to have to bump that chance up to a 5. You need 5 duplicates if you don't have it. Then it'll be 1,070.65. We're going to try this one more time. We're going to go 3%, and we're going to go yes. We're going to go 5 of them. And it's roughly 1,074, 1,070. Also, roughly around the 1,070-ish. Now, you might be saying, wait, that makes no sense. How is it that you need 1,054 and to go to 1,070? That's not even a single summon. Yes, but the program does not consider your summonings being independent. It considers as multi-summonings. So consider yourself this question. Let's say if you do a multi-summon, right? Let's say after 5 multi-summons, you get 4 duplicates. Actually, no, let's say after 5 multi-summons, you get 5 duplicates. But one of the duplicate was in it altogether with another duplicate. So meaning like you get duplicate, duplicate, nothing, and then duplicate all together. So sorry, it's like one duplicate, nothing, and then 2 duplicates. So in that essence, you still summon 5 times for both the 4-star. You summoned 5 times for both the 4th duplicate and the 5th duplicate. In that sense, you've spent the same amount of gems for both of them. So in this case, this is what they're telling you. For both 4 and 5, you're averaging around the 1,070-ish mark. But actually, for characters, I think for 5 duplicates, it's like 1070 to 1075 range for MDs, and for 4 duplicates, you're looking at 1050, 1060 for duplicates. And now let's try a weapon, because now we have a lot more precise percentage. Let's say it's 2 weapons, we obviously 2%. We're going to have yes for step-ups, and we're going to need 5 duplicates, as always. So we're looking at 2385.4. Let's try it one more time, just to be precise. We're looking at 2395.4, so a little variation of 10 MDs right there, but not enough to skip a summoning count, because that's only 10 MD difference. It's not going to be an entire summoning. It costs 15 for one, come on. And we're going to try one more time. So 2366.5. Now that one is a big variation. However, I don't think it changes the result overall. I'm going to do it one more time just for the sake of it, and it's getting lower and lower for some reason. That's actually kind of weird, not going to lie. Okay, no, it's back up to 2403. That's just to double check. I'm going to throw in another one. It seems to always decrease from a certain perspective. I don't know if that's intentional or that's just bad luck. Okay, no, this one went back up again. So that was just random. It just by chance that it was decreasing it every time I was doing it. Okay, so according to the results, it looks like most of it is roughly ranging from 2366-ish to 2400-ish. So you're looking at close to 2400, 2350-ish. I'd say around there. At most 50 up, at least 50 down. Now obviously you might take more gems to be able to get that entire thing, but then that will mean you're unlucky. However, if you get it less than this amount, then you are considered lucky. So I hope this video brought some lights to you, brought some sense to you guys as to how much gems you actually need to be able to fully limit break or fully obtain an R5 weapon. So with that out of the way, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I know that this is like 2 videos in one day, mind-blowing, but you know, I just finished this code and I really wanted to get it out there to show you guys. Aside from that, have a wonderful day. I know that tomorrow is going to be a new banner summoning, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to summoning Yuki, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!